Hey fellow Webflowers! Welcome back to another Webflow tutorial. This time I will show you everything you need to know to get started with the Webflow CMS. We will start with a couple of basic questions and then set up a CMS collection for a blog and integrate it in a blog overview page and a blog post. So let's get into it. So the first question, what is a Webflow collection? A collection is something you will find in every content management system. Sometimes they're just called differently. In WordPress, for example, they are called post types, but basically it is the same. A collection is essentially a database to store and manage content in a structured way. You can think of it as an Excel spreadsheet where there is one column for each type of information. For a testimonial, you would have columns for profile pictures, names, positions, companies, and quotes. And in the rows are then the respective entries. And this leads us to the next question. When do you need a Webflow collection? Collections are very handy if you want to manage content centrally, but include it in several places on your website. An example of this would be a testimonial that appears on several pages. If you want to make an update to the content or add a new one, you don't have to do it everywhere. You can do it at one place. You simply add a new entry to the collection or update an existing one. And by the way, if you find this video helpful, then give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I publish weekly new content around Webflow, Figma, and creative business. And further examples for Webflow collections are blog posts, case studies, team members, or job posts, you name it. But enough with the theory now, let's move on to a practical example. One of the most common use cases is probably a blog. So let's create a blog collection, set up a blog overview page, and a blog post. So I already have set up a Webflow project for this example, so we can focus on the CMS part only. To create a CMS, you click on this icon here, then you create a new CMS collection. On the top, you can choose from different collection templates, but we are creating it from scratch, so we don't skip any important step. So at first, we give it the name blog, and the collection URL can stay as it is. Here you can see a little preview of the final URL. Then we go to the collection fields. The fields are actually the heart of every collection. Here's your content stored, and you can choose from different formats. The name and the slug are the standard fields of each collection item and can't be deleted. Here you can add your custom fields, and currently you have a limit of 60 fields unless you update your project to an enterprise plan. A while ago, the limit was 30, and I only had one project in my career where we came close to the 30 fields. So when you click on Add a Custom Field, you get these options. I won't go into each field one by one now, as most of them are probably relatively self-explanatory. So the first field we add is the rich text field, and we call it post copy. If necessary, you can enter a help text here, as well as a minimum character count here and a maximum there. This doesn't make sense on this situation, but maybe on the next one. So we save our field and add the next one. This is a simple text field, and we will call it post summary. That appears on the block card. Because it is a text field, you can choose if it should be single or multiple line. In this field, it actually can make sense to limit the characters count, but I leave it empty for now. We save the field and add another. This time we choose an image and call it thumbnail image. This is the image of the blog card that will be displayed in the blog overview. In an image field, you have several options. For example, you can define a minimum and a maximum for the file size. Furthermore, you can define minimum and maximum for the image height and with. But for the moment, I leave it as it is. The next field is another image, and we give it the name main image. This image will be a larger version of the thumbnail and will be used on the top of the blog post itself. So the next field we add is a switch. A switch field is basically a toggle you can turn on or off. The only option is to give it a label and a help text, but a switch is actually pretty mighty because you can do a lot of stuff with it in the front end. In this example, we can decide if a post should be featured or not. The next field will be a numbers field, and we call this one post order. In this field, you can enter a number, so you can later sort the post by an individual order. Maybe you won't need this on blog posts, but imagine you set up a collection for team members and you want the boss always to be the first. Pro tip here, use numbers in steps of 5s. So 5, 10, 15, and so on. This way you can always squeeze another post in between by giving it a 6, 7, or 8 or something like this. Otherwise, you have to go through all posts and change the numbers all the time you want to squeeze somebody or another post in between. And the last field we need is a reference field for a category. If you only want one category per post, you choose the reference field here. And if you want several categories per post, you choose the multi-reference field here. We go with the single reference field here because we will only have one category per post. But to make a reference field work, you need to select another collection here. But you can see that we only can select the blog post itself. So we need to create another CMS collection for the category at first. For this, we exit this field and save the collection. Now we add another collection and call it blog categories. We don't need to add any custom fields here as the name is enough. So we click on create collection. After this, we click here to create a new entry and we call it category 1. And we add another one and we call this one category 2. Now we turn back to our blog post collection and add the reference field again. And we call it just category and select the right collection here. Now we can save our blog post collections and start to enter the content. Yeah! So when you create a new blog post, you can now see the collection fields in action. But to speed up the things, I've prepared some dummy content and I'm going to import it now. So now that we have some content, we can start to populate our website with it. We will start with the blog post overview. After this, we will set up the blog post page itself. And I will also show you the basic SEO settings and how to display news blog posts on the homepage. So let's get into it. So this is our test project. And as you can see, I have a homepage, I have a blog overview, and here are the generated CMS collection pages. And we will start with the blog overview now. So when I go here, you can see on the top, I have a headline here, I have a featured post, and here I have a couple of tabs. I'm going to delete these ones because we only have category 1 and category 2. And here we just have a couple of posts. So the first thing that we are going to do is we populate this grid here now with dynamic content from our blog post collection. To do so, I open my navigator here and you can now see here's the grid. And actually I'm going to press Command E and type collection, and now I can choose a collection list here. And you can see it's always violet. The first thing you need to do is, I'm going to hide this. The first thing you need to do is you need to connect it to a source. Otherwise you can't put any elements in here. So that's what we are doing. We are connecting it to our CMS collection for the blog posts. So first step is already done. And now you can see it's already showing us all the titles of my blog posts. But now I want this layout. And if I have a look here now at this structure, you can see I have a blog list wrapper, I have a blog list, and I have a blog item. That is exactly the structure every collection is following. You can see here we have a collection list wrapper, a collection list, and a collection item. This one, the empty state, is also included in every collection item, in every collection list here. You can't delete it because this will be displayed to the user if there are no items in the collection to display. So that's some kind of empty status that it's shown here. But we skip it for now. And what we need to do is we need to copy these class names. So I start with this one. I go to the collection list wrapper and I paste my class name. Then I go to the block list here, go to the collection list and paste my name here. Now you can see it already took over the grid style. And then I go to the block item. Yeah, exactly. The block item. I copy the collection, the class name here and paste it again. And now you can see the next item here is this link element that contains all other stuff. So this time I'm not going to copy the class, I'm copying this element and I paste it into my block item. And now you can see that I have the exact same layout here. I'm going to delete this one and move this here outside. Delete this one also. Now you can see it basically looks the same. What we need to do now is connect all these images, categories, and text stuff with our collection. And that's actually pretty simple. I click here on the image, then here on this little gear. And now it asks me where I should get this image from. So get image from, and now I select my field. I want it to come from the thumbnail image here. Oh, that's it. Now you can see everything gets populated with the images from my collection. The same we do here now with this category tag. I go to get text from, and now you can see the referenced collection we have. I go here and choose name. Now it's telling me category 2 and somewhere here category 1. Then I select the headline, and you can't just do it this way. You can also go here to the settings and also say here, get text from, and here we choose the name. And for the subline, we go there and choose get text from our post summary. So that's it. And now actually, this overview is done. Just one thing is missing. If the user clicks on one of these cards, he wants to get to the blog post to read it. So that's the only thing that is missing. The easiest way to do so is if I go here and select this link element. And then over there, you have a couple of options. If I would have a CMS field where to enter an external link, I would choose it here, and now I would select my link field. Because there is no link field, I can also not select any link field. But I want to connect it to the blog post itself, and you can see this violet page here. So this is always for a collection page. You click here and then choose current blog post. And yeah, if you want, you can choose open in a new tab or not. Doesn't make sense in this situation, so we'll leave it as it is. And that's it actually for the overview page, at least for this one. And now you can see my blog is populated, and if I click here, I get to the blog post page. This is currently empty because this is one of the next things we are going to do. So let's get back to the blog overview. The second thing is now that I'm going to copy this blog list, the entire collection. I go here to the second tab. Oh, I can see that is these are actually not tabs, they're just links, so they're meant to get filters later on. So sorry for that, I didn't check that before, but let's imagine they are tabs, because what I wanted to show you is how you can use a filter on the categories, but that's actually pretty simple. You select either your list wrapper or your list, doesn't matter. Let's go with the list wrapper, and then you go here to the settings and you can set here a filter. Now you have here different options for the filter. I scroll to get the category, and now you can choose equals, does not equal, is set to, is not set, and you choose category 1, for example, if you only want to see all the blog posts that have category 1 currently. And pretty easy, category 2 if you want all the blog posts that only are category 2. Yeah, but we delete it for now and leave it like this. Then I'm going to delete all those, the entire row like this. So the only thing that we are going to set up now is here our featured post. This basically follows the same logic, but we will set a filter on featured or not. So let's have a look at the structure again. You can see that we also have a list wrapper here, and then a list and an item. So actually we are going to select the parent here, add another collection list, move it here. I'm going to copy the class name again, paste it to the wrapper, copy the class name of the list, paste it here to the list, and also this one, I'm copying it to here. And then I'm copying the entire item, paste it into the item of my collection list. Now you can see what I told you before. You need to connect it to a collection at first, otherwise you can't add any elements. So I'm going to connect it to the blog post collection. Here we go. And now again, now I paste this layout. Now you can see that yeah, I have here a lot of posts, but I only want to have one featured post here. So at first, let's connect this again. I will speed it up because it's exactly the same like we did before. So now that's done. We need our filter. So I'm again going to select the list wrapper here, go to filters. So at first to the settings and then here to the filters, and select featured. Now I only want to display post if featured is on. Now you can see I have only one featured post here. And I also want to limit items in case of I have several posts that are on featured and I forgot to turn it off on the old post. So I limit items here to show only one, and started one is fine. And I can also sort the order. So in case of I have several featured posts, only the newest featured post will be displayed here. So I can choose here either created on or published on. I go to published on and choose newest to oldest and press save, and that's it. Now it will only display one featured post. And what you can see here is actually the old stuff I need to delete. So here we go. Our blog post overview is finished. It's connected to our CMS. And the next thing that we will do is we will create the blog post page itself. So for the blog post itself, we have to go to the CMS collection page here. And by the way, for the blog categories template, you remember the categories is actually just those names here. for SEO reasons, I don't want to push this live, because otherwise they could get indexed by Google or other search engines. And I wouldn't say that it is harming your SEO, but it's not a benefit for it. So I don't want to get this published. For this, you can go here to this switch and turn off that it gets published. You can do this with all CMS collections that you just need for other collections and that you don't want to get published. So this is something I'm not going to do to the blog post template, because of course I want the blog post templates to get published and I want search engines to index it. So now let's go to the blog post template. And I've already prepared a layout here. And there's something special about this CMS collection pages. Within CMS collection pages, you don't need to add this collection lists, because you are already in the collection. So now I can just select any element, go to the settings, and get the information directly from the CMS. So here I can go and now connect it to the category. And up here, you can see in which CMS item you are currently, or the information, the content is currently coming from. And you can also switch here to a different one. So then I go here to the title and select the name. I leave this social media links for now as they are. But here on this image, I'm going to choose my main image. And here we go. And here we have this rich text field. I'm going to select my post body. Now it gets all the content from my post body. And here again, I have this social media sharing items. And down here is actually a field for an author of this blog post. If I want to display authors here, I would need to set up another collection for my authors. And just put up, I can use the name for the name. I need a custom field for a job title and company name, and one image field for this portrait. And then I can go to my blog posts actually and add another reference field. So the one who's entering the blog post can also choose from the authors. But we are skipping this for now, because from the process, it's always the same. So I'm going to delete this. And actually, that's it. Now I have set up my blog post. And if I go back to the blog overview, turn on the preview, and now you can see when I click on it, it's bringing me to my blog post and it's populated with the content. So let's set up some SEO some basic SEO settings. So we go to the CMS collection page of the blog post, and here for the title tag, you can add actually fields here from your collection. We go here and we set the name, and for the meta description, we set the post summary. If you want more control over title tag and meta description, you can set up custom collection fields within your collection and choose them here. And actually, that's it. And yeah, for open graph settings, I'm going to choose the same, or let's just say same as SEO title. That's fine. And for the image, I can select the main image. If it's necessary for your project, you can enable this RSS feed, but we'll leave that all right now and just save it. So, and this was also our basic SEO settings. And there's one thing we need to do. We have here this related posts, and you can see this is a little bit different layout that I was using on the blog overview. So let's go to the blog overview page, select our blog list wrapper, and I'm going to copy this, and I go back to my blog post template. I'm going to select the parent here, So this margin bottom here, I'm going to paste it in there, delete the old one. So now I have the same layout. And now I have to use a filter here because I only want to show 3 posts. So I click limit items, I show only 3, and I'm going to use a filter. And now I'm choose category and equals category of the current blog post, or you can choose also the categories here, but I want equals the category of the current blog post, and I press save. And I'm also sorting the order. I choose not post summary, sorry, published on newest to oldest, and that's it actually. And the last thing we have to do is I'm going to copy this thing once more. Go to my homepage. And you can see I actually have the same here. Oh no, that's the case studies, sorry. Or let's rename it to blog. So I go here and I'm going to delete the old one, paste the new one. And now you can see we get into some problem. I do it again. Collection lists with filters using current item can only be moved within the same collection page. So what you need to do now is you have to go back to the blog post template, duplicate that one, choose your duplicate and delete this filter here. Now I'm going to copy this one, go back to my home page, scroll down here, paste it there, and adapt the filter. Published on and news to oldest is fine. And actually that's it. Show only 3, start at 1, that's fine. That was basically the most important things you should know about CMS collections in Webflow. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I'm happy about your like and maybe even a comment from you. Maybe there's something you are interested in that I didn't cover. And if you want to know what 9 simple rules you can use to improve your UI design, you can watch this video now. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay in the flow.